This is very important, dear ones. We want to get this across. As with everything that is very powerful, money is a power, art is a power, sexuality is a power, beauty is a power. These are powerful archetypes in your reality. And whenever there is power, energy vortexes are power sources. Whenever there is power, often there is a structure that is built around those power streams. And that is the industries often that get built around these things, trying to control the power. Now, we're not saying don't desire to build an art career and have a gallery and have people support you professionally. That is one way, certainly, your art can reach more. But a lot of what happens is that when dear ones are creatives and they don't see that those bigger industries are taking them on, they start to doubt the value of what they're doing as a creative force, and there starts to build in the mind. And what you are seeing is a lot of these structures are starting to break down, and even things like the internet and Instagram allows people to take more control over their creativity and put it out there in the world. And some of the artistic institutions in the same way are going to have to adapt. But it's very important that dear ones understand that the power is theirs. The power is theirs, and nobody gets to determine the value of your work and your creativity.
Welcome to Spread Your Third Eye podcast. I am your host, Mia Wrights, and we are here with two beautiful guests today. Of course, you know Georgia Jean.
Hello, everybody. Great to be here.
Who's going to take us beyond the veils into other dimensions.
As I'm wont to do.
And we have Isabella Sebreros, somebody that's so close to my heart. She's part of the team.
Yes, she is part of the Third Eye, Spread Your Third Eye team.
Yes, and she is here because she has a background in art.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit why you wanted to come talk to the circle.
Well, I've been working behind the scenes of the podcast for almost a year now. I don't know. I love it. I love everything you guys are doing. I love it.
She loves the Circle of Light.
I am one of the biggest fans you can ask. I'm always making stuff for the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I love this podcast. And I'm so happy to be here with you guys to talk about
It's
art.
actually a really exciting day for her. So this is just so fun. She was like, am I going to be on your podcast? I'm like, if you want to, of course.
And we like to bring on different people because every time someone new comes into the hot seat, they pull through new information. So the idea of having our third guest is really to help bring forward new streams of information, because that's my experience with working with clients. Everybody's different. And so Bella's a young, cool person. We're like, what do the youth want to know?
Who's really tapped into art, because I wouldn't ask questions about art because that's not something that is in my, I don't know. I just don't do a lot of art. I don't really understand that field.
Yeah.
And so having her, she can bring in this new stream of consciousness.
Yeah. And I also went to art school way back in the day. So she's an extension of me.
This is exciting because I really don't understand art, and her brain, when she was telling me she'll do art just for fun at the house a lot, and you know it's like a channeling for her. So this is exciting to tap more into what's behind.
I have some good questions.
Okay, cool.
I'm excited.
And I will actually validate that when I was at art school painting, that really was my first experience of being tapped into the zone and just feeling creativity flowing through me and being in the space of the no mind and just creating and creating and creating. So I know exactly what that feeling is like.
That's cool. So she is maybe like a channeler when she's on her and doing her art.
Yeah. And there's things in my, just sorry not to like overtake here, but there's things in this certain set of paintings that I did at art school, images, and this is like in my late teens, 20, around your age group, that feature in our work today, because there's the Infinity 8 in certain paintings. Yes.
So you were already channeling.
I was already channeling some of this consciousness that later came out. And that series of painting was all about using animals as a metaphor for man's wrestle with their own mind. So it was like the
Interesting.
animals struggle with nature, and
Yeah.
and humanity was a metaphor for the human struggle with our own mind. And that was the beginning.
And we're still here.
And we're still struggling with our minds.
So you're struggling. Although it's getting better.
It's getting better. It's gotten a lot better. It's
gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
But that's why we have the podcast, guys.
Yes.
If you're struggling with your mind,
If you're struggling with your
this
mind.
is what, we're here to help you.
But I want to know more about Bella a little bit, because just tell us a teeny bit more about you, so we can understand you a little bit more and your background, where you're coming from.
I came from Mexico a couple months ago, just off of studying art. And I moved out here, and I mean, I'm 20, super young.
Starting a whole new life.
Started a whole new life. And I'm very happy with where I am right now in life. Art going into that, not so much. I think now that I have a full-time job, my creativity has definitely dwindled, and I am not as in touch as I was with it when I was in art school.
Sure. Listen, I hear you, because when I came, art school is this beautiful time. And I will say my years in art school really healed me. That was the first time. Prior to that, I had depression, and I did not know what it felt like to feel happiness every day. And I actually want to share this with parents who have creative children and stuff like that. For me, art school probably kept me alive, because I did not know what it felt like to have happiness every day. I would feel happiness or joy maybe once or twice a year. I was under the weather. And if you know me now, that's just a crazy thing to know about me, because I'm such a bubble of... I mean, I get about certain things, but you wouldn't believe it, right?
Yeah.
And my years in art school really healed me. There was a combination of things. I was raving. I was going to art school. I was going to therapy. I learned meditation. And somewhere between those four things, my brain rewrote, but it was accessing that no mind space state. Yeah, and I think this is actually really important for parents who do have creative children, who may, because people are like, is that really a good career to go into and stuff like that? Like, going to art school probably saved my life. But also, I did also end up making a lot of money mural painting, and I really connected to myself as a human being through that process. And at the end of the day, everybody very much is a unique creative person. So if you do have a child who is creative, I've also done tons of like tarot readings for people, and people will come in and be like, my child she seems very dreamy and more creative. And I'm like, yeah, that's her energy. You're going to have to help her with some of the other stuff, because this is who she uniquely is. And if you fight against that, you just create conflict in the system.
Yeah.
And I think the combination of going to art school and raving and painting, and I went to therapy and I learned meditation, and that healed my brain. And after that, I had so much more agency and power to go out into the world and pursue things, and to believe in myself, to go after things. But you do have to hustle.
Yeah.
You do have to, you have to work through, I think, a lot of what society's going to say about it, what the world's going to say about it, what the parents are going to say about it, and just find your strength and still go for it. And then with me, I feel the same thing. I don't get to paint the way I used to. I often feel like there's going to be a time where I'll get to sit on a porch and paint again, and that'll be amazing. But I do try and bring that into the different parts of my life, that creativity, into my website, into, whenever I can do it. But anyway, enough of me.
I'm excited to hear your questions.
I wanted to validate that.
Yeah. I'm excited to hear what the circle has to say about this, whole thing about art and channeling and how it comes across on the paper. And your questions are good. So why don't we?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say before I bring them in?
No, let's bring them in.
Okay, bring them all in.
Let's
Okay, here we go. Hi, yes, indeed, dear ones. We are here, and we are most delighted to make connection with you here on another magnificent day in your earth plane. All right, dear ones, we are delighted to hear your questions. How can we be of assistance?
Oh, I'm excited to get my answers.
Indeed, dear one.
Okay, so I was wondering more so if people are born with their creativity and their artisticness, or if that's more of a path someone will go down when they're healing more. Because personally, me, I don't remember doing art as a child. I don't remember having like an affinity for it. I don't remember loving it so much. And then I remember getting to high school where like now I can remember more of my life, and it wasn't that great, but I was going hard into art.
Indeed, yes. All right. This is really a wonderful question, dear one. So certainly with the process of art, there really is an alchemical process in the same way that healing has that alchemical process, where you are taking this kind of undigested psychological zeitgeist that's within you and taking it through a no mind process, meaning kind of allowing your mind to get out of the way, but through that integrating the energy that is in all that old memory. And we would also say that you're not just processing memory and the psyche and psychology from this lifetime. There's also a lot of bleed through from past and future and parallel lives and new consciousness as well that's just trying to be integrated. So the artistic process is this sort of unconscious way of making things conscious, this unconscious opening that allows this intelligence to just flow through you without so much of the structure of the linear mind, turning it into something as practical or logical, but it concretes that intelligence into something, and then that something itself, the painting, the piece of pottery, the film, whatever it is, that something now holds the codes of that integrated energy. And that's why people are profoundly affected by looking at art as well. And we would say, for those of you who are worried about the influence of AI and this sort of thing, human creative art is always going to have that frequency of the creative process embedded in the final format. And that is beyond something just looking aesthetically cool. That is always going to have impact beyond anything that AI could generate. AI can be handy for functional art, but the human created art is always going to have those creative code signatures that are a synergization of that process.
Which, just let me ask, does it help other people who look at it integrate?
Yes. So
it's healing for other people.
Indeed. It's not just healing for you, or integrating, whatever you want to call that alchemical process, because people don't necessarily see it as a healing experience, but it activates that alchemical integrative process in other people who watch it. So the great artists who processed, and some of them you might say didn't have very evolved personalities because they were feeling so much collective energy in their own struggle with it. But what they produce is this sort of process of transcendence through that chaos of the mind. And then people feel the energy of that and go through some state of transcendence with it.
Wow.
That is the greatness of art. It is of tremendous value in the human collective. So just to speak to what Georgia was saying about if you have a creative child, don't let the linearity of the survival mind that says, oh, a child or an adult's life is only worth so much if they're making a certain amount of money or being productive in a certain way that suits survival consciousness. Art has always been a profoundly important part of the human collective experience and of creative consciousness itself. You may say that you are all artists right now.
That's beautiful. I love that.
And you may be, some of your struggle with finding the time to make art, finding the space. It happens when the quote unquote realities of the real world start to impose upon that realm of time, and sometimes just deepening your own relationship to the importance of that process for you and for those who receive your art and receive your creativity will help you find some balance with that, because it's important, dear one.
Yeah. Okay. Next question.
Indeed.
What do you think happens energetically when someone is creating something? Are we channeling through that process, or are we, I don't know, just expressing ourselves?
Well, it's really all the same, because everybody is a channel for their life in a way, and everybody is channeling consciousness into form when you are creating and generating. But what we would say about the artistic process, and we're certain that you have felt it when it feels really good, you're really in the place of the no mind. You're not really thinking about the past or the future, you're just in there. And that's really opening that gateway for that creative intelligence. We are certain there are probably things that have come out of you artistically that even surprised you when you did it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even know how I made that look, or why that color blended so well and did the perfect thing without me having to control exactly how it looked.
Yeah.
Because that's when you are in an open channel, creativity is flowing through you unimpeded. You start to go into that non-linearity. And this is why looking at art that has been created in that state of the no mind also helps people to transcend the limitation of the linear mind. So that non-linearity is where the magic, where people may say the genius of art comes through, because most people look at it through their linear mind and go, I don't know how this person did that. Well, they weren't operating under the same constraints of linearity, where in that place of the no mind and creating. So yes, it very much is. As an artist, the same things that you might use, for example, what Georgia uses to be a clear channel, would be very helpful for artists as well, to just clear the space and let the creative force flow through you. And yes, you still, as a creative consciousness, incarnated with enough intentionality to be a channel in this way, to have the interest open up or evolve. But it is the state that many different forms of creativity help people come to, that's very valuable. And if it's not art, for some people it's sport, or for some people it's something else. These are powerful states for the human being to be in.
What is the creative force behind the artist? Is it just their higher self, or is it something bigger?
Well, again, it is consciousness flowing through. We try to not give too many exacting determinations, but we would say anything. What is the higher self? It's really consciousness that is lying outside of what the human egoic framework is currently integrated with. And most people think of the highest self. We would also say that the highest self is sort of that information that lies outside of the human egoic framework that's also going to be useful for this lifetime. You don't want everything flooding in. But when you open that gateway, we would say that you're also able, you really are piercing the veil, and you are able to go into interdimensional states. You are able to access intelligence from other dimensions, other realms, and channel that in and embed that in. And that's why a lot of the starseed creative types are also part of this seeding of new consciousness, because they're opening up those spaces. So it's always consciousness. It's where and how that consciousness has evolved. Some people may be tapping into, as we said, their past lives or streams of past life that are resonant with their current lifetime. Others may be tapping into other planetary realms. It's all out there. Remember, only your mind is creating the separation. You are in the ocean. So you're just piercing that and letting more droplets come in through that state of the no mind.
Okay, very interesting. That kind of answered my next two questions, which were, is art a portal for people? And where am I going when I'm creating? How is this image that I've just created, how did that conceptualize in my brain? Where is that coming from? And you said it could be consciousness, and it could be past lives, or it could be
your future self. As with some of Georgia's paintings having these elements of that came from the work that she's doing now. So you're always accessing, again, when you're in that state of the no mind, you've dropped the egoic framework that maintains those veils of separation between you and all of this that is beyond you, and more of those droplets are able to come through. We wouldn't say you're going anywhere. We're just saying you're more dropping the resistance and allowing more to flow through you in that state. And then oftentimes when the state sort of shuts down again, then you kind of look at it and go, oh, wow, where did that come from? It just didn't feel like it was me. But it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And we would say a lot of the reasons why in the past there's been a strong connection with the artistic types and, say, drinking and drugs and other things that can create issues in their lives in other ways. But a lot of that has relaxed the nervous system and the egoic mind, so this all can drop in. But we would like to encourage dear ones to find new ways that won't be so challenging in the ultimate personal life to access those states, because it's so valuable.
Okay.
Indeed.
Well, again, that answered my last question, which was you're right on it.
Indeed. Because we're already sharing consciousness. When we'd like to further express this, the moment of creation, the moment of the painting or of the sculpting or whatever it is, that is the manifestation. So, we talk about this idea all the time, knowingness and manifestation. What is knowingness? Knowingness is that energy is building up so strongly that it will become manifest when you arrive to a logical point of place in time and space. Now, a lot of the times, creative people experience this thing called blockage, or they feel blocked in their creativity. And we'd like to frame that a little bit differently to help you understand something about the process so you don't get so caught up in your head about it. When you feel like you want to create, and this is why a lot of people may have a big surge of creativity at a certain point, because musicians create this one amazing album because there is a lot of energy built up in their own psychological zeitgeist, and their processing is happening on lots of different levels. And then so it's actually building in that state of knowingness, like, I know I want to be a musician, or I know I want to be an artist. And then in this act of creativity, all of this starts to flow through and come into the manifestation of the form. So we would say it's already building. It's already building before you sit down at the canvas, at the pottery wheel, or whatever it is, or at the instrument. It's already building. That's why sometimes you've just got to create. If you're feeling tension and anxiousness, sometimes that's the energy building, and you need to open that gateway and let it flow out of you, and then let it flow out into the world, because channels need to keep being open. If Georgia didn't work so hard to channel so often as she does, she would have a lot more tension in her life, in her state of being, because she's pulling this information in. But if she didn't put it out into the world, there would be this sort of blockage at the other end of the channel, because there's always a receiver as well. And a lot of artists struggle with putting their work out into the world because they don't understand that that's the next stage of the creative flow to happen. It's their opening the gateway. The energy comes into manifestation in that first form, into the artwork, and then the frequency of that now has a further intelligence that can be served by going out into the world. Even if you're just putting pictures of it on Instagram, it doesn't matter. Don't hide your work, because it's got a frequency that's calling for somebody else. And in terms of the creative block thing that a lot of people experience is, once there's that first big processing of whatever you've lived with for your life so far, and that gets alchemized into this art, now you almost have to build the energy again. You have to build that energy, that stuff that you're processing. And this is where we like to teach our creative friends how to work with planetary energy. Because once you've purged, or a lot of artists may wait until they have to get heartbroken again before they've got something to really create about. Does that make sense? Because now they're alchemizing again about their heartbreak or whatever it is. And we're saying that if you actually feel the energy of the whole world, you, through your art, can start to alchemize the density in the collective and put that in your creative process. That art will have even more power to reach more people and help more people, because you've pre-processed the resistant energy that you're going to activate in the healing for those who receive the work.
You pre-processed the resistant energies
In the collective.
Yes. So she processes it.
Yes.
Puts it on the art.
Yes.
And then when it's out, then the receivers, she already helped process the resistance to her art.
To the art and the codes that's within it. So if the creative process was a healing process for you, for example, you reach this point of peace or something, the artwork has the alchemical process embedded in it. Then you put it out into the world and people receive it. So in many ways, even this podcast is a creative piece. So for many years, Georgia has processed a lot of collective planetary templates. And that's what is also embedded in this creation, in this conversation, in this format, along with, of course, what Dear One Mia has done. And you will be the same. So for those artists, and we're not trying to freak you out about the collective energy. We're trying to say that is your fuel for your artistic process. Mm-hmm. When you start going, maybe I don't have anything to create about anymore. Maybe I was a one-shot pony. Open up. This will crack you into your next levels of consciousness, because now you're working with the collectiveness of everything. And that is some of the stress of the artistic process. When people seem to go a little bit mad for a while, they're kind of losing their linear mind. So this bigger energy can come through them, and then they can generate something that will have even bigger impact on the dear ones out there that receive it.
Wow. That's really important information, because me, everyone else, all the artists out there, art block is like hell on earth.
Yes.
It's so painful.
And then you start to think about it, and you start to analyze it. Where are we now? We're in our mind. And when you're in your mind, the tap is switched off. So this is why we give the same tools. If you go into some more meditative states, dear one, when you feel block, just realize it's only the mind's limited idea of who you actually are as a creative consciousness that's just trying to look in your own mind for more stuff to be creative about. But you may have purged that out a lot in what your creative work so far. So we would recommend go into some kind of meditative state, soften the body, open up, and connect to the broader consciousness of all that is. There's plenty out there. Whether you are drawing on the human collective energy, whether you're softening your body and becoming connected to galactic energy or past life energy, it doesn't matter. Remember, you're a channel for all of it. And then you'll start to sort of download more pieces through that process. And you are connected to, the more you're dropping your egoic framework, because your mind may say, well, will that really be my art then? But we're saying what it's going to crack you open into is that your power as an all-consciousness creator, and that you are everything. And this is where your greats, great artists who often also reinvented themselves and went into different phases, they were accessing different levels of consciousness to pull in and to generate. And just do it. The best thing to do, dear ones, and you could also, if you're feeling blocked, use the love and acceptance. The important thing is just do it and release it into the world. Do it and release it into the world. Do it and release it into the world, because that really keeps those gates open. And from that, a quote unquote career will build around it. But it is the opening of the gateways that's always going to be the most important part that brings through the power and the energy that becomes attractive to the world.
Wow. That's so cool.
Indeed.
Life-changing information.
Indeed. Yes, dear one. The
Wow.
artists are very important. You're often bringing in future intelligence that people don't understand. And this is why we love our practical friends as well, and parents who want to care for their children and all this sort of thing. But to encourage the creative process is a very meaningful act in the evolution of human consciousness. When you take away the creative act, and many oppressive governments or individuals who wanted to control the masses restricted the creative act, because the creative act actually brought in the intelligence that would bring liberation. So the artists are liberators of consciousness.
Wow.
And this is why it's important. Again, if you have a child and you may want to put them into that funnel of what has been, but if they are here to be part of that liberating force, alchemizing force, you will not just hold them back, you will slow the roll for humanity's evolution.
Could we bring up the example of Leonardo da Vinci and how he has those codes in the Mona Lisa and why people pilgrimage to go there?
Yes, indeed. So we have shared this idea of opening up the gateways to future consciousness, and the dear ones here always do it before each podcast, going into the heart and opening up the gateway by asking that question: how can I help alleviate the suffering of humanity? And because sometimes, and we don't want to put this on as an imprint that the artist always suffers, but often artists do suffer because they feel that energy and they have an innate invitation a lot of the times. How can we alleviate suffering? Because they feel it, they have empathy for it, they understand it, they want to alleviate it within themselves and those that they're bringing the work out to as well. So consciously or unconsciously, artists have often tapped into that portal, and dear ones like Leonardo da Vinci is what you might call an ascended master, because they were able to drop the egoic framework and bring in all of this intelligence and begin to embody it. And through that state of opening these portals, the codes of future inventions and future intelligence were in his drawings, were in his creative acts at the time. The technology that could mirror it wasn't there, but he was tapped into the future intelligence that would alleviate the suffering, ultimately, that he was perceiving and experiencing at his time of life. Because you perceive suffering generally the most vividly in the generation that you're born in, the next, or that you're living in. The next generations will alleviate that suffering through developments in society and all this stuff. But first, the consciousness has to seed, and the artists are often opening that gateway first to bring in that intelligence. That's why listening to music heals. That's why people pilgrimage to look at these great artists, because there's codes in those works that are still activating people now. And same with you, that what you create now, and this is another thing that artists often struggle with because they are connected to future time. There has been an experience where they're often only appreciated further in the future because what they were bringing in was to alleviate what was at the time. So they didn't have the resonance with the current collective.
Wow.
Now, the veils of time are thinning, so a lot of artists now, what they're bringing in, and technology is moving faster, it's going to be influential sooner and more, and especially if you use this some of these planetary healing techniques we're giving you, if you can pre-process the resistance of the collective now, you're opening the pathways for your art to reach the collective now. But yes, this has always been a big deal. And why do people still pilgrimage to look at these artworks? Because there's still codes in them that are activating people's collective consciousness.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank
Wow.
And have a long-term vision like that, because the struggle can be challenging. You have to love yourself enough, value yourself enough, believe in yourself enough to hold your channel open when there are other ones out there who are saying, what are you doing now for your life now? And you've got to say, well, mofo, I am healing future generations and my work is valuable. And if you hold that value, you will be received with more value sooner as well. We're trying to actually help creators understand their value, because if you understand your value more deeply, you'll put it out there more, its impact and effect will happen more. You will receive the recognition sooner because you're actually moving consciousness forward. And so this is why anybody who has creative dreams should open up and receive it. The first stage is bringing it through the veil and making it materially conscious. Write the book. It's already working. It's already got a frequency. Once you make the art, it is already working in the material frequency field of humanity. But then if you can get some eyes on it or some ears on it or some hands on it, whatever it is, now it's going to be working faster in the direct manifestation field. People are listening, seeing it, hearing it. They're having faster reactions. But as soon as an artwork is birthed into the material plane, it is influencing the collective frequency. It has to. But for you want to get it out there as well, so you also get more from it.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
We want you to leave this conversation excited and loving yourself more and valuing yourself more, because it is important, dear one.
Yeah. Art is, I mean, it's everything. It's literally everything. You look around and everything's art.
Yes.
It's extremely important.
Indeed. Yes. And everyone will find their ways. The other thing, what happens a lot with young creatives as well, is that as with all powers, and this is very important, dear ones, we want to get this across, as with everything that is very powerful, money is a power. Art is a power. Sexuality is a power. Beauty is a power. These are powerful archetypes in your reality. And whenever there is power, energy vortexes are power sources. Whenever there is power, often there is a structure that is built around those power streams. And that is the industries often that get built around these things, trying to control the power. Now, we're not saying don't desire to build an art career and have a gallery and have people support you professionally. That is one way, certainly, your art can reach more. But a lot of what happens is that when dear ones are creatives and they don't see that those bigger industries are taking them on, they start to doubt the value of what they're doing as a creative force. And this starts to build in the mind. And what you are seeing is a lot of these structures are starting to break down, and even things like the internet and Instagram allows people to take more control over their creativity and put it out there in the world. And some of the artistic institutions in the same way are going to have to adapt. But it's very important that dear ones understand that the power is theirs. The power is theirs, and nobody gets to determine the value of your work and your creativity. Now, in immediacy, some things may feel more popular because they're resonating at a certain turning point in the human collective zeitgeist where they may be able to receive it sooner. But many of your greats did not experience that in their timeline of their life. So you have to understand that longevity of the power. If you have come in to be a channel for expanded consciousness in any format like this, you have to really own this within yourself again and hold that value. And don't let the external structures for a moment bring doubt to the significance of what you're doing, because they're trying to control in the most loving way. Often they are very helpful. We're not denying that, but it's still a structure that is being built around controlling that power. And yes, control can be helping. Control can be profiting. It's a structure that's built around it to harness it in some way that serves that industry. But ultimately, you as the artist, you are the power. You are the power for the channel that you hold open. And do not let that stand in the way either, dear one.
Beautiful.
Wow. That's really, really cool. I keep saying that, but it's like so insanely cool.
Indeed, dear one. Yes. Believe and love in yourself, and the universe's creativity is ready to flow through you. And there is a lot of courage for anybody who is a leading edge creator like this to keep the footstep on the path, even when the collective is saying, no, remember, the structures in the collective are and we're not saying that they're evil. We're just saying that the structures in the collective, much like the nervous system, are often trying to contain and keep things in the known zone, which is why art has always had this kind of threatening quality to it, in the same way as meditation really freaks people out, in the same way as this podcast freaks people out, because art is going to move the collective forward. So it's a synergy. You do need those structures to help stabilize, but there has to be the continual growth, because that is the human experience. Open up to creativity, allow it to stabilize, bring it into form. Now, what's next? Let's go. Let's open up the gateways and keep this game of life a joy of creativity.
The Circle of Light loves art. Very much.
Confirmed. Yay.
Confirmed. It is confirmed.
Indeed. Yes, dear one. And when you feel anxious or stressed, we say you've probably got energy building that's wanting to come through. And if you use those love and acceptance and just open up, receive, let it come through. Even if it, quote unquote, isn't good, even if it's not what somebody else is doing, it doesn't matter. There's going to be many stages that happen when you open the gate before the embodiment happens in its final form. And many of those little explorations that you do along the way are the way you are tuning your system. Okay, I'm getting this frequency about this, and I make this mark, and that's not it. That's not the thing. The critical mind can also really start to kick in and create resistance. And what we want you to see it more is everything you do is data. Data's coming in, you're expressing it. Does it feel fully resonant? No, don't be the old stereotype of ripping it all up. Just let it come in. Just let it come in and go, okay, that's part of the process, part of the process, part of the process. And then boom, that data feedback that you're doing through the process is what is going to birth the ultimate thing that is that energy that's building up in the knowingness.
Thank you.
Indeed, dear ones. Yes. Do you have further questions, dear one?
No, you answered all of my questions.
Indeed. Yes. We are delighted to come forward in this way, and it is a joy to bring encouragement and a broader picture for those who walk this pathway. Mm-hmm. Indeed, dear ones. We adore you so very much until we're meeting in this way or some other way. We love you very much. And for now, we'll say goodbye, dear ones. Goodbye.
Drop the mic, baby. Art.
Wow.
Aww,
that was so cool.
Your face is lit up now.
Because it was so cool.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do with Bella when she gets all antsy and stuff. I'm like, go do your art.
Go do your art. That's right.
It's time.
Yeah, it's time.
Go up to your room and do your art.
Do some love and acceptance and do your art.
Do some love and acceptance.
Do some love and acceptance. And I'm trying to think when I started meditating, a friend got me into meditation, and although mind you, that was afterwards, but it did. I think. Well, anyway, obviously I went on to explore different things like stand up and stuff like that. But I always go, I wish I had the tools then that I have now for many of the things that I've, as a younger person, explored, because I wouldn't have let feedback I was getting from the external world sort of, I mean, it's never stopped me because I kept going in different ways, but I do.
Gave you the psychological.
For sure, there were like resistances that came in that made me start questioning and being all like, and stuff like that. But then it is, when you're in art school, you have that space where you're just like held in that container, and then you've got to find the way to create your own container when you get out there in the world. Mm-hmm. I always wanted to build a big. That's probably one of my dreams, which I don't know if I'd ever do, but I always wanted to build a big, like a big studio space for artists to come, because you miss the community, right?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. And that's actually, I have been thinking about that a lot recently, of how cool it would be to start up a space where it's like, it happens a lot in Mexico, but not so much out here, but a space where it's like a community studio where
that's right.
everyone comes and they can all give your opinion, all their opinions.
Because it's very hard to create in a vacuum. When you've been in art school and you're feeding back and like jamming with everybody and having fun, then you go out on your own, and that I think that's kind of what they were trying to say, is like creating in a vacuum. It's part of the process. It can be kind of solitary, but if no one's receiving your work, at least in some way, I think it is part of why it can shut down. Now, certainly there have been people who just create like a beast without that, but that idea of the channel, it needing to flow through to something, I think for some people, if that's blocking down, you got to get around some other people and have, paint days together even,
That's
just to
cool.
be,
That is cool. Yeah. Well, art is like a very community thing. You need a lot of people there around you, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I left art school and I was a little annoyed. And I was like, what do you mean? You don't know what type of pink this is? Excuse you? Like, I asked for turquoise, not teal.
Right. Phthalo blue, please.
Why are you holding your pencil like that? What is wrong with you?
There's definitely a breakdown. Like, I just feel, I mean, I think it's awesome. Like, and your creativity will take lots of different forms too. I think if you're a creative, everybody is a creative person. You are creative consciousness here, but some people's creativity lends more to technology or, whatever it is, or children. I think that's another thing. Like, having children is, again, you're bringing in consciousness that has lied outside of the human egoic framework, and you're putting it into a physical form and birthing it. So there's lots of different ways for people to experience their creativity. I actually, when my sister-in-law, my brother and my sister-in-law had kids, and they're like, kids are just wild. But when I would go over there, it'd be just so nice to like get into that creative space with them and just play with them.
They're just all.
Because they're all creativity.
Yeah,
and that's what my sister-in-law said, because she was living in the States, so she couldn't work. And she's like a professor and stuff. And she's like, you just kind of have to surrender into that space and just go and enjoy the creativity again. Yeah, and enjoy it instead of being like, oh God.
The mess, this,
the mess, that. Just let yourself be in that zone.
I had a hard time with that.
Did you? Yeah. Just surrendering into it.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the beautiful thing.
But then I would smoke a little bit of cannabis and I would really get into the mode. Maybe I'll cut that out. I don't know. But then I just don't do that anymore. But that is the one thing that helped me get in the mode. But I don't.
Well, that's what they were saying. That is why a lot of artists do smoke and stuff, because it relaxes the nervous system, and it you get rid of that voice saying this isn't productive. How am I?
That's exactly what would happen. I would actually be in the moment,
and then it will open up, and then the creativity.
Up.
And so we try and help people to do that, especially when we work with artists. It's like, if you can do it naturally without having all those crutches that can end up being destructive in other ways. Then you're able to open that tap and just allow yourself to be in that, get lost in that space and know that it's important. I think that's what I loved from the messaging, is just letting you know how important it is.
I know, that's so cool. That was so cool.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
There was so much passion behind the answers.
I hope this helps a lot of people.
Yeah, I hope it does too.
I think so. There's definitely got to be so many artists out there.
So many
tuned into this.
Especially with the writer's block or whatever. Block.
It's not even art. It's like artist block is also like writing. It's videos. It's filming. It's photography. It's not just painting or drawing or visual art. It's so much.
Well, I think their perspective that was really helpful is that idea that, and I can see that you have that first wave and it's all the stuff that you bring processing from your childhood or your life so far, and then people don't know where to tap that energy from next, and it's really the dissolving of the self into the broader energy, that then you've got an unlimited resource,
which is cool.
And again, that's the sort of stuff I wish I knew when I was doing that stuff, because I was an open channel. I just paintings just flow out of me like boom, 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 like finger painting, like 5 paintings in, like it was like not in a day, but in like 2 or 3 days I could make 5 paintings, and something just
when I was on it, I was doing like lifelike drawings every day, like 4 a day, like turning those in, and then I got to do a painting tonight, and I got to do this life-size drawing, and it was like I was doing it all.
You're doing it all. I think my dream too is definitely to have a room dedicated, as you can from living with me, you can tell I'm not very spatially organized, and I need to see everything. And my dream ultimately is to have a room that's already set up where it's like a no-brainer that I can just walk in and do it, because all the packing and unpacking,
that's the thing.
It's all
that's
grist for the procrastinating mind.
Correct.
Whereas when you're at art school, you just walk in there. It's all
ready to
up.
go. You just start.
And you just do it. And it's so great. I think it's just awesome. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's the same with me. My studio right now is my bedroom. So every time I walk in there, I'm like, well, the bed looks more tempting than the canvas does.
That's right. You need to have like no distractions, like just that space where you can go get lost in there. And I'm happy to say some of my dear friends, and actually one of my friends, best friends in the world still, who I went to art school with, Stephen Ralph, he was a little bit of a slacker at art school, but he was very good at, because he had a lot of woodworking and background. He was very good at taking things and doing sculptural form, but he just went at his own pace, and we even had a nickname for when people were just kind of like messing around. His last name was Ralph, and we'd call it Ralphing around, because he'd just be like, oh, they're just Ralphing around over there, just tinkering around, not really doing anything. But man, now the sculptures he is doing, and he's properly represented, are just amazing, next level.
Cool.
And he just stuck with it, and he stuck through, the
Ralphing around.
But he also had like cancer a few years ago, and I love him so much. I helped him during that time. Yeah. And he was going through it, because I was like, no, the world cannot have you not in it. And so, we worked together, and he's really, from that, it was kind of like a second life too. Like his whole life changed actually. But he's just been making amazing art. Stephen Ralph is his name. He's in Australia. He's on Instagram, but he's just just goes into that studio and tinkers around and produces the stuff. Yeah.
Well, we'll put him the link, and
that'd be cool.
Hopefully that helps all you artists out there. I know that was really insightful for me too.
Yeah, so. Be a journeyman.
Yeah.
Go the long journey. Yeah, like
stick to it, guys.
The kids, inner children will want instant results, but you gotta go. It's a journey, and your time will come.
We love y'all. Nice stuff.
That's good stuff. Yeah,
my hands are so sweaty.
You did great. That was great. How are you feeling? Your face just got glowier and glowier and glowier.
It was just super cool. That's like so like
that was next level on art. I did not.
Oh my God, I feel so important now with my art.
That's exactly that.
I'm an artist.
Like it actually means something. Like
like the circle of light was like, do not stop.
Do not stop. That's the you got to honor your channel too. That's right. It is a tough life for artists a lot of the times, especially because of society doesn't understand, man, what I'm doing with myself. But if you got to love yourself more, and not love in an ego way, it's that integrate. That's why we do to keep integrating all those voices, because they're the voices that you integrate that becomes the art as well. When you have the voices in your head or the resistance outside, that's your source point to get the energy to do what you'll do. So it's really knowing what to do with resistance. Always generates more creativity.
I'm so setting up a little studio.
Please.
Yeah, so we can come and paint when you come next time.
I feel like people need more. That's why like the wine and painting nights are really popular for people now. Like we need more. Just let's be creative.
Yeah.
Because there's all that pressure. I love what they were saying about the industries and stuff, how industries always tend to want to control the power source. But people need more permission to be creative. Actually, I love that about living on the drop zone because everybody's like, it's kind of this integration of this creativity and everybody just does everything. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, everybody, because skydiving seems to break down that nervous system control. That people are creative but they're not like I'm an artist or it's just a flow state. Everything's just a flow state there. And we need more of that in the world. We need more of like people just finding that flow state.
And I've been wanting to paint.
Or people, like people even tapping into it who aren't particularly trained artists.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Like Mia created a beautiful statue that's in the living room. You know the one I'm talking about? The beautiful, love that one. But anyways, that's beautiful. It's so good. I want you to keep going.
I know. And I love that.
Should.
I would totally do that again. Maybe there's some codes in
You know
there
what I'd love? Of course there's codes.
Obviously,
of course.
right?
You have to show me this.
You didn't know?
No, I did not know.
I made it my senior year in high school.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Sometimes I stop and I just...
Really? You're
go
receiving the
archetype on
codes.
it. Yeah.
You're receiving the codes.
Yeah. Receiving the codes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always valuable. I think, like art is, you just got to do it.
I
Just do
know,
it.
but I didn't know
More
I was
people need to
channeling.
open
I didn't
up.
know there was codes. You had no idea what was behind the art, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
You know, what was
I always
behind
had
the
a
process.
sense.
You did.
Yeah.
You understood a little more. But about me,
Because I was
just
in
like,
it, yeah.
like,
It's just
did
like,
it.
I think we've got to work on this illusion of time. I mean, because that's really what makes it difficult is like, for me, it's just like there's not enough time. I would love to paint a series of oracle decks. Like that's what I feel like at some point I would, but the isolation is the main reason why I don't do it because I'm already on the phone with clients all the time. It's working on my computer. My dream is, and then I'm skydiving, so that's I'm doing
you're
that.
tapped.
I'm tapped, and then we're making the podcast. Like that's
and then
enough.
I gotta sleep.
Yeah,
so.
and then I gotta sleep somewhere, and then to sit and paint a whole deck of oracle cards is like.
I want to be like that guy. We go into Honeycup. And the guy's like, I go to bed at midnight, wake up at 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah,
all
this
I need is 3
baker
hours
guy.
of sleep. I'm like, who the fuck?
Yeah, this baker, he sleeps 3
Did you know that? No,
hours.
Arden.
He only
I didn't know.
sleeps 3
Arden
hours.
in Calabasas, Honeycup.
Shout out Honeycup.
Shout out to
Shout
Arden
out, yeah.
Honeycup. I'm
best
telling you,
coffees.
the best caramel latte with the
best pastries.
all homemade.
And he
all-
sleeps
all-
They're not
In
homemade,
shop
but
made.
all made in by
every
scratch.
day by
Every day.
scratch. He gets
Was it
up.
Andon?
He sleeps from 12 to 3.
He says if I get any more, it like throws me off. So he only
Wild.
gets 3 hours of sleep because I was like, what time do you get here?
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you guys, this fresh made
But
pastries.
look at that creativity flowing through him.
Ooh.
Like he's a creator. Look at those pastries.
sure. And
They're
how
so
good is his
beautiful.
stuff?
Yeah, they're amazing.
Las Virginias,
So,
guys, in Calabasas,
Yeah,
Honeycup.
Honeycup.
Fire.
Yeah.
Best coffees.
We're
amazing
paying him,
coffees.
guys. The first time we went there, he gave me a free little treat, and it was so cute.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
Oh, and then he gave you
He
another?
always tries to give us free treats, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
we're
all
the
like,
podcast.
I'm like,
We really got to look snatched. That
Snatched, I
camera
know.
does add 5 pounds. I swear I look better in real life.
I've got everybody's 5 pounds over here.
5 pounds, come here when you're looking at us.
I got them all.
Guys, I can take it. Just hand it over
you
here.
can have
I'll
it.
take it. I'll take
You can
it.
take the 5 hours. I'll take the honey cup. But it's true. Like people need, like the more people can, I think, tap their creativity, the more they can find the energy to do their stuff. Like I know when I'm in that zone, I can be like super productive and just like there is all the when you are open channel, all the energy you need to be
Yeah,
creative is there and to do
interesting.
everything. And I feel like I've also learned one thing that helped me a lot too, I feel like, was learning that everything's building. So when something's ready to come through, it will come through, and that I could trust that more rather than being like, you better sit down and do your taxes today because that's the most important things. I learned how to trust that when the time is right, the whole process of the taxes will come through and it'll be less exhausting because it's building, and then I'll be able to just channel my taxes or you know, but everything kind of gets channeled that way. And I trust that it's that right on right now timing. Man, we should have talked about this, because there's like the big well, it's in the after hours for those people who are savvy enough to listen to this, but that's one of our big teachings, is the right on right now. Like, do it when it feels right on right now, because if it doesn't feel right on right now, it might be building.
Don't threaten me with a good time right now,
but
baby.
when it's right now, it will just come through. And that's that, because sometimes we need to gather the energy from different sources to have the energy for the creation, and then it comes through. So that's why you find when I'm here, right?
Yeah.
Fully here. I'm here, we're making this. Like I have to kind of, things happen in those chunks where all the creativity is for this. Or like we went and do the event, and I'll just like pop out everything. Like it's all ready, everybody do it. And it can be hard working with someone like me, because that's how I operate. Because it's not like it's like it's all happening, it's all downloading now, and here it is. Do it now. But that's how I can get a lot of things done. Yeah. And that's how, when we're busy, if you know, wait and let things build and then open up and give it, but you have to create time for it too.
We're gonna make sure she gets creates time.
Really, if the anxiety is building, that's
what I'm gonna know.
That's a lot of young people have that too. You know, I had that, like, it's just like, because it's like all these codes are coming in.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's anything else you want to say in after hours, baby? After hours. This is where you get a little, you know, like, just let your hair down.
There's any single men or women out there who think I am attractive and beautiful and cool, hit me up.
This is like the
Instagram will be down below.
You have to be kind of an artist too. You have to get her.
You have to be cool. Maybe have a little bit of money, please.
Well, sometimes you need the artist, and you need the complementary opposite. He's
maybe no artist,
part.
actually. Let's not do that.
You said you have some money to at least buy her a honey cup coffee.
Buy her a honey cup coffee.
Whenever she wants a coffee.
I'm always just looking for
Hey,
clothes.
those paintbrushes are not cheap.
They're not cheap. Artists expect you need a patron, so then he can not patronize you, but patronize you. Yes. I love that.
Love you guys.
Bye.